Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive into a real mystery? We're tackling the Green Man today.
A fascinating figure, absolutely.
His history, what he means, and why he shows up everywhere. Churches, old Celtic art, you name it.
It is a journey, and for me, the biggest question is, why has this image stuck around? It's more than decoration. A face made of leaves, it's powerful stuff across so many cultures.
Exactly. There's a pull there, you can't deny it. But for those who are just tuning in, what is the Green Man? What should we picture?
Okay, so picture a face. Most times it's a man's face, but it's merged with plants. Sometimes it's subtle, leaves just kind of around him.
Right, right.
But other times it's like, bam, vines on his mouth, branches for eyes, the whole 9 yards.
I've seen those. It's like nature's taking over. Are there like different types of Green Man?
There are, and that's where it gets fun. How much is man? How much is nature? That's the question. So you've got your foliate head. That's the one where he's basically become the leaves.
The one with nature, literally.
Then there's the disgorging head. Now that one's about flow. Like the plants are coming from him, being born. Real powerful stuff.
Gets you thinking about life cycles, doesn't it? All that growth, all that decay. You mentioned another one. The name was intense.
The bloodsucker head.
Yeah.
Don't let it scare you. Not as bad as it sounds. This is like every part of him is sprouting leaves, eyes, nose. It's like nature's energy just coursing through.
No vampires, then. Good to know.
So
But, okay, where did this start? Is it as old as it feels?
that's the trick, right? The name Green Man, that's pretty recent. Lady Raglan, 1939, she came up with it. But the image, oh, centuries back, maybe even millennia. Some folks trace it to the Celts, their old art, the La Tène period, all those metalworks, the swirls, and then boom, a face pops out at you.
So, pre-Christian Europe, which makes you think pagan gods, right?
That's the usual idea. Nature spirits, life and death cycles, it fits. But there's some stuff pointing to the Romans, too. Down in England, there's this silver plate, part of the Mildenhall treasure. 4th century, it's got this mask, seaweed all around, probably one of their sea gods.
So the Romans had their version, too. Wild. Then it gets weirder. We find green men in churches. How does that fit?
One of the biggest mysteries, some historians think it was a long, long journey for the idea. India, then the Arab world, finally medieval Europe. At first, it was just decorating stuff monks used. But then, boom, it's on church walls.
But how did church go for that? A pagan thing just becomes decoration. Doesn't seem like them.
No, there's got to be more to it. One theory, it ties into the story of Seth, Adam's son. He plants seeds in Adam's mouth after he dies, those seeds. Supposedly, they become the tree for Christ's crucifixion.
Whoa, okay, so the green man, death, and resurrection all tied up.
Makes you think, right. And it's not just a theory, there's real examples. The 7 green men of Nicosia, they're carved right on St. Nicholas Church in Cyprus. No hiding that connection.
7. They went all out.
Yeah.
So by the medieval period, he's everywhere. Secular, religious, the whole deal. That's got to be the end of the story, right?
Oh, not even close. The green man, he's got staying power. But for that part of the tale, we'll need to dive in some more next time.
You know, it's amazing how the green man keeps going. Like, even as we move into the Renaissance, things change, but he's still there.
So, different vibe.
Definitely. It becomes less about the deep stuff, the symbolism, more like he's just part of the decoration.
Ah, so more about looks than meaning.
Kind of.
Hmm.
The Renaissance was all about the classics, right? Greek myths, Roman art, the green man gets swept up in that. He's in books, tapestries, even furniture. But he looks different, more whimsical, not so serious. Sometimes they even give him an animal head instead of a human one.
A makeover, green man style. So does that mean the old meaning is gone?
Not necessarily. Maybe it's more like he adapted. The Renaissance was a time of huge change, intellectual stuff, cultural stuff. The green man had to fit in, right? Maybe they saw him as a symbol of abundance, or maybe even that wild part of us humans, the part we can't always control.
Even when he's just decoration, there's still that mystery about him. So what happens next? Does he just fade away? Nope. Not a chance. In fact, he has a comeback in the 19th century. The Gothic revival, arts and crafts movements, they loved the green man.
That makes sense. They were all about getting back to nature, rejecting the Industrial Revolution, all that.
Exactly. It wasn't just buildings and art either. He pops up in literature, poetry, becomes a symbol of the wild, untamed parts of nature, kind of a pushback against all the science and reason of the Victorian era.
It's like he shows up whenever we're going through big changes, almost like a gauge of how we feel about nature.
You might be onto something. Maybe the green man shows our deepest fears and hopes about nature all rolled into one. He's the life giver, but he could also consume us. He draws you in, but he's a little scary too. And of course, He reminds us that life doesn't last forever.
No wonder we're still so fascinated by him. He's not just a pretty face. There's so much depth to him, so much meaning. And he's not just stuck in the past. He's still relevant today.
Oh, absolutely. Think about environmental movements. He's become a symbol for them, a reminder that we're all connected to nature and we need to protect it.
I've seen him in modern art too, even design. He's constantly being reinvented. But underneath it all, he's still the same Green Man.
And that's the key. He's adaptable. You can interpret him in different ways, make him fit different beliefs. That's what makes him so universal. And speaking of different interpretations, remember that whole thing with King Charles's coronation invitation?
Yeah, the Green Man goes royal.
It was designed by Andrew Jameson, and it had a big green man right there, made of oak leaves, ivy, hawthorn, the whole shebang. The royal household even called him an ancient figure from British folklore, symbol of spring and rebirth, they said.
I can see why that caused a stir. People are still arguing about where he comes from and what he means.
For sure. Some folks, they thought it was harmless, just a bit of folklore. Others, well, they thought it was messed up for the church to use a pagan image. But hey, that just proves, even now in the 21st century, the Green Man can still get people riled up, make them think.
Shows how powerful he is. We've come a long way, from ancient Celts to modern kings. What have we learned about the Green Man? What's his story telling us?
The fact that the Green Man has stuck around for so long in so many different cultures, I think it says something pretty profound about us as humans.
It's weird, right? We're so drawn to this image, even if we don't know why. Like, he's familiar, but also unknowable,
Yeah.
human, but also, like, really natural.
You nailed it. It's that need we all have to connect to something bigger, to figure out life, death, all that. Where do we fit in with nature?
Like, we're part of it, not just visitors. Maybe that's why the Green Man just keeps coming back. It's a human thing deep down.
I think so. Growth and decay, the power of nature, that whole mystery of why we're even here. It's a story every culture tells in some way.
So we've been on this journey, right? From the old Celts all the way to a king's invitation. Symbolism, how he's changed, all that. But what does it mean for us now? What's the takeaway from all this Green Man stuff?
For me, it's a challenge to really think about how we treat nature. Are we part of the web or messing it up? And that whole cycle, creating and destroying, it's happening all around us.
Not just a history lesson, then. It's about today and tomorrow, too. Like, we're part of this huge story that's been going on forever in the leaves, the seasons changing, life and death, always back and forth.
I like that. And if you really start looking, the Green Man's everywhere. Art, buildings, even just how plants grow. It's like a reminder that wild part of nature, it's closer than we think.
So, to everyone listening, go find your own Green Man. Look around, read up on all the different ideas about him, see what speaks to you. You might be surprised what you find.
Maybe he'll even teach you something new about yourself, how you fit in with the natural world. Until next time, happy exploring, everyone.